Someone asked me a few questions, but I think I might ignore the one set of questions. That's why I keep putting these cat talking videos up. If I'm a mature adult, it's just funny. I mean, everyone likes a sense of humor, as long as the animal or the person didn't hurt themselves in the making, or anyone else. As far as the other question, am I lying or telling the truth about whether or not girls, women, female, um, are doing this? Yeah. This, like, if you read they recategorized them, because back in 1980 to 1990, 1970, you could actually read online about all the horror stories of North America, Arctic, and South America, which is pretty easy to read. They were directly to the point. They weren't an open investigation, but people weren't denied the fact of the truth about what happened. So when they put it under folklore and whatnot, which was another decision to put it under certain ones, it's not to sit there and say it's a lie, a fairy tale or a made up piece of a story about something. It was just to kind of get people away from utilizing things that were not really devastating, but tragic to other people. Which got a lot of people upset. Like when you go to Johnson and Johnson's, you see their products on the shelf, and then you read some of the stuff about them. Like the guy that started Johnson and Johnson. When he got older, and they say senility, and I don't like the word senility. It's a bad excuse for saying that a person is not normal, in the sense of that if you say it that way and the person would come back unnormal, then you would take into the responsibility category of that person of if they heard what you said, being responsible. That's why I don't talk to people. I'll talk about things, like cars and all kinds of other things, but I don't talk about people. So when someone says, a person is nasty smelling and whatnot, which in some senses, some people say, well, you said you ran across a few people that might have been this way. Well, no. I said I had experienced that, whether using the word experience or not. But I never sat there and demoralized them. It's, in some senses of humor, it does that. It demoralizes a person. And when I say demoralizes a person, go on SNL. You'll find out directly what is for a person to demoralize someone, even though it's humor. SNL technically needs to go away for a while. Now, as far as the other topic, and once again, girls doing outlandish shit that they don't want their kids being subject to in the grave torture. Well, that's pretty simple to handle, actually, in some senses, without actually stuffing a child up in you. Well, in the hospitals, some hospitals in certain places aren't so savvy. When I say savvy, I'm talking about the word in the sense of being super intelligent or even knowledgeable, in the sense of if someone were to take an incinerated child, would you, if you were a person, give it enough time, if you knew what that is still wasn't a flat line on a monitor screen, and it wasn't a bleep in the cord, to incinerate it? Then that's a long story. Long process of how to and how not to. I can tell you how some people in older, back not older, but in earlier times, would technically, if a child was dead and they didn't want to bury it, they'd just give it to the bears and the wolves, and they would eat it, and you'd realize that they would end up, a bear would have its way with destroying the body, but not destroying the child. To where you might actually see a bear in the middle of the woods return to the same place 56 times. Or it might roll over a little bit, then roll back. Once again, as some children aren't born to life as they're born to death. It's better to be born to, in some senses, if you aren't a whole person, be born to death before being born back to life. The other sense of it is the carefree. I'm talking about two things at this point. Carefree is in the feeling, and the gum, G-U-M, is some people think this is a good thing. Not when you're using it in practical ways of hurting a person. Like, you see these pictures of these kids that are 45 years old and they're less than a foot and they still look like they're toddlers. But they can talk and they can do all kinds of hellacious shit. So, question of it is you really doing good by that person, or are you just, in a nice way saying, beating to the beat of your own drum by that of screwing up someone else's life? And once again, once a child is detached from you, when I say detached from you, it means that it is naturally detached. No knives, no surgical blades, no doctor, nothing like that. So you may say, how does that happen? Simple. A female who has a child often will wait for a few things, and it's not uncommon back in practices to wait for what comes out between her legs to actually die off. And some say, oh, she can't have any more children. No, she has to wait until the thing grows back. The time between children is often what is not really referred to, but a natural way of having children. Some say that just, you tuck that shit back up in, it'll retract like a roller, and that's done. Some girls who are female and women, considered women, that'll never happen. Like I said, F-E space or dash M-A-L-E, if they're capable. Or W-O dash M-A-N, or female, and whatnot. And you got different versions of woman, I should say, not female. The M-E-N and then the M-A-N. Unlikely an M-A-N is going to have the parts of a female. And like you heard mentally, it's often what happens not through incest, but through girls doing stupid stuff. So religion and the cult is the first thing you want to stay away from when you're younger. You don't want to preach to them about how good it is not to have certain things, but at the same time, you don't want to preach how nasty it is either. When Jehovah's Witnesses come around, you don't call them devil worshippers. You just say people who don't know what they're talking about. Or the Christians. The Christians, they like to bank more than they like to preach. Generosity hits its blunt point Did you do the right thing? And that blunt point is, if it's categorized by people in a certain category, and you've heard the mental thoughts of what is blimpy versus what is non-blimpy. Some say blimpy's fat, some say thin. Some say the distribution of fat to thin people, or people who want to be bigger. Both in its own way is a really bad idea. Catch you on the next one. Or see you in the next one.